With Car Guru's Discover, you can skip the filters and describe what you're looking for in your own words. Simply type what you want, and Car Guru's Discover instantly surfaces real listings that match your exact needs. It's no wonder Car Gurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site according to SimilarWeb's estimated traffic data. Buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at CarGurus.com. Go to CarGurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CarGurus.com. CarGurus.com.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome, everybody, to the Hockey Think Tank podcast, brought to you by Hockey Think Tank. You place for all passionate players, parents, and coaches to go to get a little bit of education and a little bit of inspiration regarding the greatest game on the planet. What an episode we have for you guys here today. We are bringing on Derek Edwardson, who's the hockey director of Indiana Elite Club out in the Indianapolis area. He is also the guy I looked up to as a kid. I played with his younger brother growing up. He was a sick hockey player, went on to play at Miami of Ohio, where he scored 120 points in his collegiate career, then went on to a great pro career, mostly over in Europe. But awesome hockey guy, awesome hockey mind. So pumped to have him on the podcast here today. But before we do get over to Derek, let's bring on the talent of the podcast, the one Jeffrey J, who low the key. Yo, Mr. Hard Work, Patience, and more hard work. What's shaking today?
That's actually my dad's saying. That's Philly Cheese, the king, the big Philly man, the myth, the legend. Yeah.
Philly Cheese special. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. Last workout today with my pro guys that were left still in town that weren't in NHL camps. So my schedule get a little bit more free and clear here, which is nice. Also, something I do want to talk about real quick. Obviously, with the events that happened here in the country, over the last couple of weeks here, I put something out on social media that I was just trying to do more for community, more for people. I feel like, with the things that I built, I have some systems and things like that I can share with the world to give away more stuff for free. So I had told social media that I was going to put out like a intro to getting back into working out program completely free on my Instagram. So I'm finishing. I was hoping to have it finished last weekend. I didn't have time, but I'm finishing up this week and this weekend. So on Monday on my Instagram, there will be a link from now until forever for an 8-week program to help people who have not been exercising, neglecting their physical health, which 100% also leads to neglecting your mental health. When you are more physically healthy, it helps your mental health. It doesn't mean that if you're physically healthy, you are mentally healthy. But for Toph and I, we both know we've had concussions, we've had brain stuff, we've had gut stuff, things like that. When you take care of the physical, it definitely helps you to take care of the mental as well. So I'm going to be putting this out on my Instagram. It's just my name, @JeffLavecchio. On my link tree, there will be a link completely free to get back in the gym for 8 weeks of training. Might even bump it up to 12 here. And videos, demonstrations of everything. You can reach out and ask me questions. It's me answering, not my coaches. Just trying to put out more good in the world. So that should be out on Monday. So if any of you parents are out there, like what I have seen in just my daughter's first year of her life, especially the last 2-3 months, she mimics everything I do. And she can't even really talk yet. She says dada all the time because I say dada to her to make her say it back to me. But she mimics everything I do. She's now dancing. When I'm dancing to music, she's dancing. I start crawling after her. She starts crawling. Like, she wants to do everything that mom and dad do. And I've only seen with your daughters and my friends' kids that children mimic their parents. So I couldn't think of something more important that I could give to the world than helping people get back into to exercising. So if you're into that, check it out. If you have any questions, just DM me on Instagram.
Dude, you're a good man, Rumpelstiltskin.
Yoo-hoo.
And not to get all, whatever right now, but I, that just made me think of Grandma.
I mean, did you read that list in the group chat?
No, I didn't yet.
Oh, dude, scroll up in the group chat. Aunt Kim put in a couple of notes that she found next to Grandma's chair and some folders, and they're pretty powerful, dude.
Good Lord.
Yeah, you're gonna love them. They're great. I'm probably gonna frame them, put them in my office.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So for everybody, I don't even know if we've talked about this on the podcast yet, but
I think we did.
Yeah, Vex and I, our grandma passed away a couple weeks ago now. She was 89, lost our grandfather last year. Died almost a year to the day, a year and about a week after him. To be honest, I thought we were going to have her for a couple weeks after Grandpa died, because I've never actually seen them not together. It's been hard on the family, man. I mean, it's we have so many memories that like the hardest thing for me right now is like going over to the house and knowing that the house is going to get sold, and it's not going to be ours anymore. 40 years of going over there and French toast breakfast and skating in the backyard when Grandpa would freeze it. And the fact that they're both gone now, they're with each other, which is, I don't remember how many years that they were married, 66, 67, whatever it was. Just a shining light, an example for all of us. And, like you talking about that and wanting to put out good in the world just reminded me of Grandma, and she would be very proud of you.
Grandma.
She's proud of all of us, Grandma. But that's her. Geez. All right. Talk.
Is it raining in here? God, I didn't know my basement rained on my face.
Yeah. But anyway, so the world was a better place because of Lori Scott, and we miss her already. But we know she's up with Grandpa now, and they're probably laughing at the fact that we're crying right now. To be honest.
Yeah, and probably at the end, Grandpa'd be crying too. Hey, he got real emotional the last few years. It was it was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. But on top of that, obviously family, incredibly important. I've been on the road, which has been hard, man. I haven't been seeing my kids a ton. I was in, this past week, I was in Washington, working with Tri-Cities Junior Americans, just a phenomenal organization in Eastern Washington. Then I went down to San Jose Junior Sharks. It's just like, it's really cool. It's funny that with the Hockey Think Tank and what we do, I feel like at times we are like the youth hockey world's venting place. And so the amount of like DMs and emails and things that I get just about the ills, that are going on in the youth hockey world, like it's hard to carry at times. And it's hard to read and hear some of the things that you hear, but like getting out on the road and getting boots on the ground and working with these people who truly care and really, really want what's best for the kids in their area and the organization. It's very uplifting and it's really, really awesome, to be honest with you. And so, we work with a lot of clubs, youth hockey clubs. And when I do get the opportunity to speak with some of these people who are leading them, or to get out there and travel and get on the ground with them and do some parent education and coach education type stuff, it refuels me, man. It does. But I do miss my kids. I do miss my kids. Got out of college recruiting, so I would be more around, and now I'm on the road again.
Yeah, I can't imagine, man. You've been buzzing all over the place the last 60 days, 90 days. It's but also really cool to see how much you've grown the Hockey Think Tank and how much you're positively affecting all these organizations. It's really, 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 really cool to see the impact that you're having on the game of hockey. No doubt about it.
You too, brother. You too. And another guy who's having a big impact on the game of hockey. Did you like that transition?
Well done, buddy.
Eddie, Derek Edwardson. This guy's the man. Like, awesome. Like, dude, this guy was an unbelievable hockey player back in the day. Unbelievable hockey player. So I played with his younger brother. He's 3 or 4 years older than we are. And he would come out like for practices, he's like a peewee and we were mites, and just tool around us. And we were like, this is the greatest player ever. And turned out he was, he's not that much taller than I am. 120 points in college at Miami of Ohio with an injury in there. played professionally for a long time, and just one of the smartest hockey players you'll ever see. And so now the fact that he's leading Indiana and Indianapolis and their kind of surge and their charge in making hockey relevant there and really kind of growing the game in that area. I couldn't imagine a better guy to be able to do that. And so there's some other guys that we would know. You know who else is over there? Remember Zach Miskovic?
Yeah.
He's down there as well. He's in Indianapolis, and Richie Hansen, who's one of the ADM or player development managers through USA Hockey, a really, really good dude as well. He's in that area too. So it was really cool to talk to Derek about just like being in a non-traditional market, how people work. And that's, again, this is something that I'm screaming from the rooftops right now. Like, let's get people in a room and working together and collaborate. That's how we're going to fix a lot of the issues that we see. And they did that in Indianapolis, and it's been a huge value add for everybody that's playing in the state and their families. And it was really cool to kind of dissect that with him. And when you can match really, really smart people with really passionate people who care about the kids, usually good things happen. And very cool to see him and what he's done in Indianapolis and Indiana as a whole. Well, let's get over to that conversation. Before we do, very quickly, we have some people to thank. First, want to thank our title sponsor, icehockeysystems.com, the best website out there for all your coaching education needs. They have drills, thousands of drills to pick from and go through to make your practice plans. They got whiteboard explanations from really, really high level hockey people where you can learn about habits and concepts and drills and systems and structure and anything and everything that you want to learn about. Also a drill drawing tool and a practice planning tool where you can go in, drop your drills, create a library, print them out, send them out PDF wise to all your kids, all your parents before practice. And if you are a youth hockey organization president, leadership member, hockey director, you can get this for every single coach in your organization. Wow, what a value add. I swear, like everybody that I talk to in the youth hockey world has Ice Hockey Systems, I think. And so we've teamed with them and partnered with them to do this association's platform. So go to icehockeysystems.com and check that out and get this for all your coaches today.
I want to give a massive shout out to Train Heroic. You guys know Train Heroic is the awesome platform that allows me to work with USHL teams, NAHL teams, NA3 teams, midget teams, bantam teams, peewee teams, little kid teams. Any way that I can help deliver quality training at an extremely affordable retail price is the reason that I started working with Train Heroic, and their platform has allowed me to do that so easily with players from all around the world. Tens of thousands of players have now worked with me online. So a massive thank you to Train Heroic. And if you're looking to get training for an individual, a group, a team, or an organization, please reach out to me. It's so effing cheap, and all I'm trying to do is help the hockey world with this. Thank you to Train Heroic.
People helping people. I love it. Also, we want to thank Helios Hockey. Helios, one of the best products on the market for player development. It is a sensor that you put on your shoulder pads and gives you real-time data and feedback on your play. Every time you move, that sensor lights up and gives you cool feedback on, most importantly, your stride mechanics. And there's some videos in there to help you with your stride as well, but also a hustle score which the kids absolutely love. Today's day and age, got to be able to skate, man. Skating's such an important part of the game, and this is a great tool to be able to help with that. We also understand that one of the best parts of Helios Hockey is it pairs up with whatever video you're using. You can get your shifts, you can get your reps cut up for you directly after a game, directly after practice. Unbelievable stuff. So if you can, go to helioshockey.com and use the coupon code ThinkTank, one word, and you will get a 20% discount on a pro annual or a pro 24-month subscription, or go to helioshockey.com/teams. And you can get this for all the players on your team. Lastly, want to thank Crossbar. Crossbar, one of the best solutions to help you streamline your operations for your youth hockey organization. I know a ton of clubs that have switched over to Crossbar to help them run their operations. And what do they have? They have an unbelievably easy website design to use, registration for everything from an entire season to drop-ins, clinics, and lessons, a club schedule, a 5-star communication app, financial tools and reporting, volunteer and facility management. Guys, like, this is a one-stop shop to make your life a ton easier as a program director, rink operator, whatever it may be. So go to crossbar.org and check it out. And lastly, we want to thank you guys, our amazing, amazing listeners. We love you guys so much. It's why we're continuing to do this. We are almost 7 years in the making here, guys. Almost 7 years in the making. And it's crazy that in November it's going to be 7 years. But we keep grinding this baby out because we love putting out information that can help make the hockey world a better place and hopefully helps you in your journey if you're a kid, or helps you as a parent to help your kid through their journey. And so if you can, for us, if you can help us to kind of spread the word and share the gospel, anytime you interact with our podcast on your podcast staff, liking it, commenting it, downloading it, rating it, following us, shooting us a review, all of that helps to elevate our platform in whatever algorithm happens. So if you search for hockey, maybe you'll go to the Hockey Think Tank. And so we would appreciate that if you can do that for us. But we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for listening. You guys are going to love this episode. So without further ado, here we go with Derek Edwardson. We are so excited to have on this episode of the podcast somebody I knew when I was just a little guy. Well, still kind of am a little guy, but we're talking age, not size here. Back in the day, he's in Indianapolis. Derek Edwardson, how are we doing today?
Fantastic. Thank you guys for having me.
So, hey, Vex, first thing before we get started. Actually, I have a couple things. Number one, you two guys are birthday buddies. August 26th. August 26th.
Happy belated, bro.
You know who else? You remember Greg Rollo?
I remember.
No way.
We played together in Pee Wees and Bantams in August 26th as well.
Shoot, you know what? That actually is a really good reminder. Him and I were texting back and forth a little bit ago, and we want to have him on the podcast. He's got a great story too. Yeah, we got to get him on. He's an assistant coach, Vex, with Milwaukee in the AHL now. Really good.
Was he Ferris State? Where was? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would you guys have been the same birth year? He's probably a little younger than you, right?
Than me? No, exact same birthday.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Gotcha. Also, Vex, outside of being birthday buddies, when I tell you, and this is a little, I'm sure the conversation is going to go here at some point, but Derek's brother Timmy and I played Might and Squirt hockey together for the Glenview Stars. Won a couple state championships, 3 to be exact, not a big deal. Although we are going to talk about the craziness of Might hockey and the fact that I'm talking about Might state championships is a little ridiculous. But so, like back in the day, like it was so cool. Like your idols were like the midgets, right? Like you're a Might or Squirt hockey player, and it's like, oh, the midget players are like, this was my guy. Like he would come on the ice and practice with us when he didn't have practices, out on the ice with us, and just absolutely tool us on the ice, just playing keep away against 12, 13 little 10-year-olds when you were 14, 15 years old. And so it's cool to have you on the podcast now, just kind of like an idol of mine as a young kid, you know?
No, those were fun. Those Glenview Stars teams were good. My age group, your age group. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. We had a couple D1 guys, a couple NHL players, Al Montoya, Danny Richmond, both played games in the NHL. We had a bunch of
Brian Fahey, Brett Lebda, Craig Anderson. They were all in my group.
No way. There we go. Yeah, we had Billy Devo. Billy Devoni was on our team too.
Billy Devoni, best guy ever.
One of the best for sure.
Hey, and I'll tell you what. I was, as a St. Louis kid, and I'd come and watch you every now and then when you played for Glenview. Your guys' setups, your uniforms, you had the pants with the stars on them, right? I had never seen hockey pants for kids that had stars on them. And I was like, these are so cool. They got stars on their pants. And when I got to Rochester in the AHL, when the Bruins traded me to Florida, it was the first time I ever had anything on my pants. We had stripes, and it was red, white, and blue like Glenview. And I thought back to you playing for Glenview, and I was like, I finally got something on my pants.
You made it. You made it.
Stripes on the pants, baby.
Well, Derek, thanks for coming on, man. And all of our guests, we always love to start at the beginning and ask you how you fell in love with the game. So we didn't grow up too far away from each other, but what was it that had you fall in love with this great game of hockey?
The Blackhawks, Jeremy Roenick, Steve Larmer, the glory days. I just started watching. I was glued to the TV every time the Hawks were on. And my dad never really played. It wasn't a family thing. He was a fan, but watching the Hawks and going out to the frozen park in Morton Grove and trying skating for the first time. And I hated it. I cried, but I kept watching the Hawks, and I got in with the Skokie Flyers and the Glenview Stars, and it was awesome. I got really lucky with coaches, and you played for a lot of the same ones. When we were little, we had really good teams and really good coaches. Sylvain Turcotte made everybody love the game at Mites for the Glenview Stars. And yeah, that was it. I was just obsessed from day one watching it on TV.
That's unreal, man. Yeah, Sly, he's retiring after this year. So at the big AHI meeting in the summer, they gave him some sort of, I don't know, lifetime achievement award or something like that. Very, very, very well deserved. Because between like the Glenview teams and then the Turcotte stick handling school in the summer, like nothing better. That's where my love for like tennis ball hockey came. You remember doing those Turcotte schools and playing tennis ball hockey cross ice?
We added tennis ball hockey to our summer camp here this past summer, and it's going to stay.
There we go. I like it. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, obviously we had some great mentors growing up through youth hockey and stuff. You're a program director now, though, so you're running the shop there in Indianapolis. And it's funny, a lot of times when I speak to people, I'm like, man, like if you really want to build your program, like just focus on the young kids. Focus as much time, effort, energy, putting the right people, the best people, training people at Learn to Play, at House League, at Mites, and the reward and the dividends that you're going to get from that investment into the younger ages is just going to make things so much easier as you keep going as a program director and thinking about your childhood and Sly and all the other people that we kind of grew up playing for. How much do you take that to heart, and how much do you try to really try and help at the grassroots level with that, especially in a non-traditional market like Indianapolis?
For sure. We run everything from Learn to Play all the way to 18U AAA. So we get to really see the whole path. And I've found over the last 10 years, the best thing we can do for the youngest kids is just to make it as fun as possible, make as many kids fall in love with it as we can, and look forward to coming to the rink and try to make their teammates become their best friends and the parents all get along, because that's what really matters. The kids that play for a long time, the adults that are still playing beer league at 60, 70 years old, it's just because they love it. And we found that there's not a whole lot you can do with their ability or their skill set or all that, but the kids that make it, that move on, are the ones that love it the most, without exception.
Wild. I heard fun, friends, parents get along. Sounds like a recipe for success to me, and for kids continuing to play hockey. Weird, guys. They're not winning the Stanley Cup at 6.
Easier said than done, but yes.
Oh man, it's so true. I talk a lot about, because I do a lot of parent education and parent seminars and things, and it was interesting because my parents were always very involved in my youth hockey, and my mom came from a youth hockey from a hockey family. My dad played college hockey, and so my dad was typically an assistant coach. My mom was a manager, all that kind of stuff, and I asked him, I was like, man, and my parents love your parents. Like they got along so well, when Timmy and I were playing together and things like that. And it's just funny. I asked them when I started getting into this, I was like, it always seemed like we had really good parent groups, like really, really good parent groups. Was that kind of lucky? Did we just get good people, or like, did you guys put a lot of work as coaches and managers into that parent, camaraderie kind of thing? And they basically laughed at me. They're like, dude, you have no idea how much work we put into making sure the parents got along and enjoyed their time, because it's not just the kids' journey, it's the parents' experience too. And so it was just a really eye-opening thing for me, just how much effort went into, planning social events and making sure new parents felt welcome. And anytime there were two games or 2 events in a day, doing something together as a team. And now I understand why my parents on road trips were getting back to the hotel room at 3 a.m. in the morning and being very loud, that the parents were always just kind of hanging out. And is that something that, like, as a program director now, that you see just the experience of a team be so much better when the parents are kind of bought in? And what are some things that maybe you do or talk about with the parents to help facilitate that?
For sure. I remember the team parties at your house back in the day, Topher.
Yeah. Absolute gong shows.
Yeah, a good manager is a really important part of a team. And one of the things I've found seeing both extremes of parent groups and age groups as they come up is that if you've got a group of parents that are supportive, that believe in what's going on, that trust in the coach and trust in the manager and all that, it trickles down to how the kids play. Like if the parents are happy, or at least if they're not voicing negative opinions, it affects how the kids play. If you're in the car rides home, or if you're in the hotel lobbies complaining about what's going on, you can see it immediately in how the kids play. So I think trying to create a positive vibe and that trust in the coach, that trust in the program, a lot of that comes from the coach and the managers, just communicating well, sending the right messages. That's a huge part in age group and team success.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. What do you got, Vex?
That stuff, like, parents, please hear what he just said, and please zoom out. Never, ever, 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 for any reason, talk to your kid about the other players on the team and how your kid is better than them, or you should be on the power play and not so-and-so, or whatever's how you should be playing more. You should score. No, that is not. If you want to say that between you and your spouse behind a closed door, like whatever, like fine, but never talk to your kid about that. No good will ever come from that. Never badmouth the coach to your kid, even if you hate the coach, even if you don't agree with them. You're just teaching your child to subvert authority and like hate, their coaches, which is going to bleed into like school and their teachers and lack of respect and all those types of things. So like, really think about what you're saying in that car ride. And it's one of the reasons that Toph and I have asked for every year that we've done this show to all the players that play at higher levels and pretty much everybody who comes on the show, or the car rides like with your mom and dad after a game, because those things are way more important than you guys know, because I've coached and I've been on teams, and when you're younger, the kids who are being fed this stuff to their parents, and it kills the team. It kills the friendships. It kills the coach's authority. It just sets the stage for everything to go downhill from there. So just really, really please be cognizant of the things that you're saying and sharing with your players in the car ride after the game, even if you're not happy with what's going on.
For sure. That's a big part of my preseason meeting with the team I coach every year, asking the parents that if you have a problem, before you talk about it at home, before you talk about it in the car ride, come to me as the coach and let's talk about it. Because the second parents are telling the kid that your coach doesn't know what he's talking about, or these lineup changes, or these lineups don't make sense, or the schedule stinks, we can tell immediately based on how the player's playing. Immediately. We can tell the day after you told your kid the coach doesn't know what he's talking about, because he checks out, and it's not for us. It's not for the program. It's not for the coach's ego. It's for your own kid's performance. You're wasting a season as soon as you don't believe in the program, the coach, or anything like that, because the kids don't perform.
And it's like the zooming out, the 10,000 foot view, like the lesson that you can be talking about with your kid if they're not getting the playing time or they're not happy with this or that, is like, again, sports metaphor for life. Teach them and shepherd them how to get through the hard time or the thing that they're not happy about, instead of dogpiling and stacking on and being like, the coach is an idiot, your left winger's an idiot. Like, what does that do for them in a month, 6 months, a year, 10 years from now, for them as a healthy human being participating in society or on any team at higher levels? Like, you're just going to turn them into a selfish idiot. Like, don't do it.
Yeah, I'm on this kick right now, and anybody and everybody I can talk to, I say this, like, I feel like for the most successful people that I've been around, whether it's people inside the game, that have played at the highest levels or just, in life that are killing it, I feel like there's two very big consistencies of those people. Number one is going back to Derek, what you were saying earlier. They just flat out love what they do. Like every elite hockey player that I've been around loves to play hockey for the most part. There's your odd one that doesn't. They're just blessed by God. They're that good. But they love to play the game. And the second thing is they take ownership for everything that they do. There are so many, and it's really interesting now as a parent of young kids, like we're programmed, and my kids, it feels like they're programmed to just make excuses for things. like every day I'm talking to them about like not blaming others and controlling what you can control and taking ownership in a way that I can say that to an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. But like, I want them to understand the life lesson of like, hey, like life is a lot more in your control than you think. And it's not what happens to you. It's the way that you choose to react and respond to what happens to you. That's the most important thing. And that's where the car ride home is really important, because I think parents even sometimes like do it unwillingly, or not unwillingly, but unknowingly. So it's like, oh, the ref screwed us today. Like that's teaching your kid that excuses are okay. And to the more extreme things, like you were saying, Vex, like, oh, like the coach doesn't know what they're doing, or the other kid on the team, lost the game for us or whatever. It's like, no, like we need to continue to start teaching our kids, like it's in our control, like take ownership for everything. And when you take ownership for everything, honestly, like I heard Gary Vee talk about this, like anxiety goes away when you take ownership for everything. Because you're not worrying about other people. You're not worrying about other people's opinions. You're not worrying about what other people are doing. You're just focusing on like how you can be the best that you can be. And so like everything that we're talking about here, I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's the thing that I feel like I've been talking about the most when I get in front of kids and parents is like, make sure you put them in an environment where they're going to love what they do. And then don't let them make excuses. Like teach them to own everything and control what they can control. Derek, I don't know what you think about that.
For sure. Absolutely. And you see it. I've been here long enough now to see a couple of age groups go from 8U on beyond youth hockey. And those are the types of kids that make it, despite everything that's going on, all the factors that people think matter, whether it's skill or scoring or whatever. All these kids can do physically more than any of us could do by the age of 12 years old. And it's the kids that really want it, that love it more than anything else are still the ones that move on, which is reassuring.
And you think about what that's setting your child up for, your player up for, like teaching them like, okay, like what can you control? What can you do? Toph is 100% right. I mean, it's the beginning of the season. I have tons of new players that are now first year junior players calling me because it's hard and they used to be the guy when they were younger. Now they're in juniors. They're at the low end of the totem pole and teaching them to go through that. But what you're setting them up for is, teaching them to control you can control. Okay. You get a bad pass and you turn it over. When you get older, you learn, okay, well, what could I have done better? If you're doing what Toph is talking about right now and teaching them, okay, well, what could you have done? What could you have done better? What could you have controlled? They're going to look at the video and watch 10 seconds before and be like, oh, I turned it over because I made a bad pass, because I put myself in a bad situation because I took the wrong route. So yeah, maybe that D-man didn't give me the perfect pass and then I turned it over right after, but he gave me a bad pass because I took a bad lane. So that was my fault. So what you're doing now is teaching them to take control of what they can control, is teaching them later to rewind steps and be like, okay, well, what could I have done better? Even though I made the mistake, or someone else on the team made the mistake, what could I have done better? And that's how they will actually develop. Like this is like A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D. And this stuff is so important. And if we can teach them at the younger ages to always look in the mirror and reflect, and then they can adapt and apply, they're going to learn how to get better. And like Toph said, they're going to stop pointing fingers at everyone else and put themselves in a rocking chair of anxiety and just worrying about everyone else. Oh, coach doesn't like me. Oh, this, that. Oh, this is no. I'm just going to focus on me and getting better and what I can do. And mental health wise, I mean, that's extremely important.
And I think that's harder now too, because before, like the whole recruiting culture, like it's harder for kids to stay on that path today. Kids are being recruited at 8, 9, 10 years old to other programs. So you always have somebody, and they have advisors at 12 now. And you always have somebody making excuses for you or telling you your coach is wrong and you're the best player. Just come to our program. It'll be great. So they're getting it from all different angles. There's always somebody telling them it's not your fault. You're really good. And I see it a lot when kids graduating into junior camps, where they're getting negative feedback, some of them for the first time in their lives, from an outside source. Like they've been recruited and told how great they were since they were 8 years old by everybody, and even their coaches, because they need to keep them happy and keep them in their own program. They're not getting real feedback until junior hockey.
Yeah, 100%. Real feedback. That's a great, like, kind of way to tie it all together. Just the whole recruiting culture of what youth hockey has become. I mean, honestly, like, I hate to be the guy that was like, oh, back in our day, but like, you played for your district. You know, like, everybody had a district and you played for your district, and
District 5,
you know, that turned into the Mighty Ducks, that turned into beating the Hawks, who were, you know,
that turned into Team USA,
which then turned into
JV
Hall.
high school.
Yeah. Oh God, I absolutely love it. But it is like, there's a big part of me, and you can have the debate, right? Like, is it better to kind of have like competition, blah, 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 where you can kind of go where the best programs are versus, like, you know, having your districts and playing for your town or whatever it may be. And I do feel like playing for your town, when you think about it, because a lot of what youth hockey has become about recruitment, not development. That's not to say development's out the window, but youth coaches, at least at the tier 1 level, and you can even say at the tier 2 level, at sometimes for the kind of paid coaches, are spending way more time on the phone talking to families about getting them than they are like putting lesson plans together. And so it's interesting. Like, I feel like if you do kind of like the community play for your district kind of thing, it almost puts the incentives on development, because now this is your player group. Like, this is what you have. And in order to have a great program, you have to invest so much time and effort into development, right? As opposed to, if you want to be the best with this open borders policy, then you can just kind of recruit the best. And there's no incentive really to develop, or I shouldn't say no, but there's less incentive to develop. There's more incentive to go take kids from other places. So it all kind of ties together. And when the incentive is on development, that's when you get better hockey players.
Sure. Well, I think we were lucky when we grew up. We were always on good teams, and there were far fewer AAA teams back then. But I see the mindset totally different these days. Like when we were growing up and we'd play a top team in the country, there was nobody on and they beat us. There was nobody on our team that said, oh, I want to go play for that team. It was like, I hate that team. I want to play them again. I want to beat them. And now I hear it in the lobbies, and I hear it amongst parents. We'll play a really good team. Oh, it'd be nice to be on that team. That's totally shifted. Like the pride in your jersey, the pride in your team, the pride in your program. There's not a lot of that anymore.
Yeah. And it's going all the way up to college.
For sure. Exactly.
All the way up to college, man. I was talking to a couple college coaches actually literally yesterday. I talked to 2 of them, and we were having that conversation. The pride in the front of the jersey, man. And going back to the development, like all the way back, like nobody ever did it alone. Nobody ever did it alone. You need a community. You need a tribe to help you, to guide you, to support you, to hold you accountable, to challenge you. And when that's a different message every other year, that's not very good for development. When it's a new team every other year, it like that just is confusing. And it's it's a great point. I didn't even realize that, but it makes a lot of sense. And you're in the rinks a lot more than I am, and you're dealing with it on a day-to-day basis. That are those conversations happening where it's like you play against teams and it's like, ooh, like they were good. I wonder if I can, go talk to that coach or talk to a family and see if they'll have a spot next year. That's happening a lot.
It's going on in the lobbies. It's happening as we speak. The coaches or other parent, and there's always some unofficial recruiters as parents on every team. Like, oh, I know that guy. And you see those conversations going on in the lobby, and it's just a huge distraction.
For me, that's just another reason to not start AAA hockey as early as we do, because then it's a free for all and it's everybody trying to go play for the best team. Whereas if everybody was playing for their club team and you can't leave there, you've got to get better. Oh, you want to compete with the best team across town and they beat you by 10 goals last year? Well, let's use that as motivation. Let's learn from it. Let's get better. Let's practice harder. Let's have somebody that we're chasing to get better. But you start AAA at 3 and now you don't get those lessons. Everybody's just changing teams every freaking year. It's like, come on, guys. Like, what are we doing?
Having an A for every year that you've been alive? 3-year-old AAA.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Well, this is good stuff, but Derek, I do want to get to your hockey playing journey a little bit because you had such a great career, and I had a backseat to it, at least for the younger years of it. But one of the things, you and I are similar in the fact that we were not blessed by the height gods per se, but you go on and you play 4 years at Miami of Ohio. The program was really humming at the time, and then you play a lot of years of pro hockey. Played particularly over in Europe for a long time. We got a lot of kids that listen, or a lot of parents that listen that have smaller kids, right? So I love when I get a person of my height, well, actually nobody's really of my height, around my height, let's say, on here. Like, how do smaller players succeed in the game of hockey today? If you're a kid that has not been blessed by the height gods and you have these hopes and dreams of playing at the highest levels, what are some good tipping points? What are some good things that we can talk to these kids about?
For sure. It's funny, whenever anybody asks me or we talk about when I was playing, everybody just assumes I was really fast because I'm not very big, and I wasn't.
Same here. Exact same here.
Like, no, you won't be impressed if we race out there. I think the biggest thing for anybody, for me, and you hear it, you guys have talked about it a million times, and when you hear scouts talk about it, it's competitiveness and decision-making, hockey sense. Like I don't even really like the term hockey sense anymore, because it's decision-making with and without the puck. And are you making the right decisions, the most efficient decisions at all times? And I think competitiveness, to me, the most important thing for a hockey player is what's your motivation, and on the ice, within the game. And it's got to be winning the game, because all the right decisions trickle down from that, offensively, defensively, everything you do. If you're focused on winning the game, then you're going to do all the right things that trickle down from there. So there's a lot of ways to do it. And that's why playing everything you guys talk about, playing games in practice and real life situations rather than scripted drills, it teaches the kids how to make decisions and the most efficient decisions. And you can only learn that through failure and embarrassment through practice, losing battles, losing little games within the practice. That's how you really learn. That's one of the biggest things I've learned as a coach is hockey is far too unpredictable as a coach to tell somebody what to do in a specific situation, because it never happens the same way twice. So having decision makers that can think on their feet and react. If you think about all the goals that are scored, guys score 50 goals a year in 50 different ways. It's really hard to practice any one of those things. Like, of course, you've got Ovi taking his one-timers from his one-timer spot, but how many guys are doing that? Very few. So being adaptable, finding different ways to score, finding different ways to defend, because players are all different shapes and sizes. Like Lane Hudson plays the same position as Zdeno Chara. They do it very different ways, but they're both a couple of the best D in the NHL. So everybody's got to find what they're good at and how to use it. But I think it comes from the motivation to win and finding the best ways to do it.
Love that. I love that. I have a funny story similar to what you were talking about earlier about not being fast. So the assistant coach that recruited me to Cornell, he was telling me a story about when he brought me up to the head coach, to Shafe, who I eventually ended up playing for. And Scott, his name was Scotty Garrow, greatest guy in the world. And he goes up to Shafe. He's like, "Hey, I got a guy. I think we want to take this guy." Shafe's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Is he big?" No, he's not big. "Oh, so he's fast." No, he's not really that fast. "Oh, he can really score though. He got a great shot." No, shot's not very good. And he's like, "Well, what the hell is he then?" But to your point, one of the most competitive players out there and one of the smartest players out there. Like that was always kind of why I was able to succeed, is because I wanted it more than everybody else and I can think it better than everybody else. And so like those things, when you think about it, and I talk to coaches a lot, like what are the environments that we're creating as coaches where you can bring out those two things in players? Because if you have a kid that can really think it, and if you have a kid who's really competitive, those I think are the two things that translate the most to every single level you go up. The skill will even out, like the speed will even out, and all these other kind of like ancillary skill type things. But the things that translate, if you want to be successful at every level, you got to be a great decision maker. I'll put it in your words because I love how you said that. You got to be able to make great decisions and read and react. And you have to want to win. You have to be competitive. And I think as a smaller player, that might even be the most important thing, because like you're going to get told no, you're going to get cut. Like there's going to be things that happen to you that are outside of your control and unfair just because of your size. You have to have a little bit of a little man syndrome where it's like, I don't give a crap. Like, okay, bring it, and that is something you develop through kind of getting cut and going through the tough stuff and things like that. And I know for your career, Derek, it was not an easy road at times. And I remember distinctly like having conversations with my parents because our families were pretty close, where it's like, "Oh, Derek's doing so well. Oh, he got hurt again." Like, and it was like almost like this, geez, like how can this guy catch a freaking break? Like, come on. And so like, that's another thing we talk about a lot on this podcast, is just like how important it is to be resilient, and how every path is different. And if you want to get to A to B, there's going to be some downs and some tough stuff along the way. How has that helped shape you as a player? How have the tough moments kind of made you even better as a player? Because you think about, you had a lot of tough moments, but you had a great career too. Can you talk a little bit about that and how it made you the player and the person you are today?
For sure. As you know, I tore my ACL right around the same age, right around the same stage of our careers. Missed a full season of junior. Luckily, I had just committed to Miami a couple of weeks before that, and had the surgery. And they called me back and said, "Well, we're still going to honor our commitment," which at the time I didn't realize that was in question. But it was great that it worked out. I got back for the playoffs that year. And I tore another one in college. So I basically missed 2 full seasons, but it was good. It was good for me. Looking back on it, I had my 2 best years of my career the year after my ACL surgery. It made me miss it. It made me really get back to it and work hard and realize how much I love it. It was certainly hard at the time. But I think the other lesson, like coming out of youth hockey and picking a junior team and picking a junior league and through the college recruitment process, I think the biggest thing that helped me through my career was going places that really wanted me there. Like like there were, at the time, the North American League and the USHL were a little bit closer competitively, but I wasn't getting much interest out of the USHL, and Danville and North American League really, really wanted me and recruited hard. And I knew that I would play a significant role when I went there, assuming that I performed. And that was a great fit for me. And then again, through the college recruiting process, I talked to a bunch of teams. There was at the time, Maine was one of the competing for national championships most years, and Miami was kind of on the upswing. And I was talking to a few others, but I felt the most comfortable at Miami, and I fit with the staff, and I knew I would have an opportunity, and that's the one I took. And I was really lucky on day one there. I got probably more of an opportunity than I should have with Rico, and was running the power play as a freshman. And I don't know if that would have been the case if I had gone to a higher profile school at the time. So I think going somewhere where you're fairly certain you're going to fit in, where the coaching staff knows you well and wants you and believes in you. I think that was another thing through pro hockey. Whenever I got an American League call up, you kind of feel where you're needed. You feel where there's trust, and that only happened once in my call-ups where I got a real opportunity and got real ice time and was put on a good line and was expected to contribute. That's when I scored, and that's when I did well. So I think that's really important to go to places where you're wanted, where you're going to fit in, and that may not necessarily be the highest level or the highest profile school or whatever it is. So that was a big lesson that I learned and try to pass along to the kids I'm working with today.
Love that. Fax, you had a similar college experience in terms of going to a place where you knew you were going to get opportunity and worked out all right for you.
Yeah, I mean, talked about on the podcast a lot. Like I had offers my second year in USHL, and then I took a scholarship offer from Western Michigan, despite having offers from like the biggest schools at the time. They wanted me to play one more year of fourth year. There was no way I was going back to Omaha for a fourth year. And Western Michigan was 11th of 12 in the CCHA back then. And the coaches didn't tell me this because I was like one of the last guys. I was the second to last guy to picked from my class. Gallivan was after me. He was a recruited walk-on. And I went there because I was like, okay, like they're not great. I was looking at their forwards. I was like, I know I'm going to play. I'm going to come in and I'm going to prove and show them what I can do and whatever, and I'm going to play. So I literally went there with the goal of I'm going to a school that's not as good because I want to play more and round out my game and become a better player and help the school win. And if I would have went to, the massive schools a year later, like who knows what happens. not the captain as a sophomore. NHL teams don't notice me. Who knows if I play anywhere near as much as a freshman? And who knows if I sign in the NHL after that? Like he's saying, you got to go where you're wanted. Now, that also does not mean, because this happened this week, I had a younger player who left to go out of town this year to play for a different AAA organization. And we had a call this week. He's going through a tough time, first time away from home. He's like, yeah, we know. When I decided to come here, they told me I'd be on the power play and they told me I'd be playing top minutes and yada, yada, yada. And he's like, and I'm not right now. So like, how do I go into coach's office and what do I say? And I was like, well, you know that's not real, right? Like, it doesn't matter what they say in the offseason. You're going to be on the top line. Well, if you come in and you stink, you're not on the top line. So like, you got to get that out of your head. You can't be upset that you're not on the power play because they told you you'd be on the power play. You've got to earn the power play. So that's part of it that you guys got to be thinking about as well.
And that's a cautionary tale to all the parents out there as well. If you have people that are telling you what the ice time is going to be or promising things, run as far away from those people as you can, because they're full of crap. They're probably saying that to 12 out of 12 forwards and 6 out of 6D to get you in there. And then this is what happens. If you have a coach that's like, hey, I'm not going to promise you anything. You got to earn everything you get. Here's where I think you'll probably play. Like, I think you'll probably be in this spot, then that's somebody that I would trust a lot more. And I respect the hell out of Shea for doing that. In the recruiting process, he was very upfront, blunt, and honest with recruits. And I think that's part of the reason why Cornell was so good in the 30 years that he was doing it. And there'd be times as assistant coaches, like Benny and I would be like, can you put a little finesse in it? Like, no, we're not going to promise anything, but but he's like, hey, if they can't take blunt honesty and you got to earn everything that you get, you're not going to have a good experience playing for me. Because that's who I am. And people knew where they stood for the good or the bad all the time. And so I think that that's a very, very important thing to talk to the parents about, is like, and honestly, like, if you have, whether it's, a 14U all the way up through college, if you have coaches telling you and promising you things and telling you where you're going to play, like, do not play for that coach. I'm sorry. Like, don't play for that coach, because they don't have a crystal ball. They don't know what the team is going to look like next year. They don't know the next player that they're going to come, they're bringing in. If there's a coach that's like, you got to earn your keep, and that's the coach that I want my kid to play for.
Right. There's a big difference between a coach saying, oh yeah, you're going to be top minutes, you're going to be on the power play, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, versus what Toph said. Hey, we're bringing you in because you're great on the power play. We expect you to be there, but obviously you've got to play well and earn it. Those sound the same, but they're not the same, right? Like those are very different things. So what the coach is saying to you, listen to them.
100%, man.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under-eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit Plexiderm.com/special. That's Plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Hey, want a cookie? Oh, I know you just ate, so you're craving something a little sweet. Besides, one cookie isn't gonna kill you. How about half? Just a bite? Bite it. Bite it. Bite it.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. Your affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on a path to successful weight loss by quieting food noise.
Bite it.
Shh. Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
And all right, Derek, I want to get into something with you because one of the things that I've been really trying to beat the drum on here, and it's funny, like everywhere around the US and even Canada is very, very different, but it's amazing, I think, what can happen in a city or a state as far as the hockey culture is concerned when people actually get in a room and talk and work together. So much of what youth hockey is silos. You know, it's worrying about number one and not having any kind of like a big picture view of what's going on for the betterment of the area, the game, whatever it may be. And that's not a slight at people. That's just kind of the way it is. But I have seen the beauty of when people actually kind of collaborate and work together, what can happen. And you're in a non-traditional market. Like you're in Indianapolis, you have an East Coast League team, but there's no college team around. Hockey is an emerging market there. And what you've been able to do to kind of collaborate and bring people together, I think, with the program that you run is pretty awesome. So I wanted to ask you here on the podcast, was that something that when you took over as the director, you knew as a non-traditional market, like, hey, like we're going to have to kind of pull everybody together here and we're going to have to work together to provide the best experience and product possible for our kids and for our families? And how do you get people to work together in a specific youth hockey market? Because like I've seen the beauty of it. When people work together, great things happen. When people don't, like it can get pretty toxic. So just wondering how you think about that and what you've been able to do there in Indiana.
For sure. Yeah, when I first got here, there were 4 different programs just within the city of Indianapolis. Like we had 3 privately owned rinks and 4 programs operating out of those rinks. And my first team, I coached a 12U team when I got here. We were in Central States and we won 3 games that year. And it was the best team in town at that given age group. We won 3 games in the Central States AA League, but we had good players. We had a couple of good players. We had 3 kids from that team play NCAA hockey, which was pretty crazy. Maybe it meant I was a bad coach that year. I don't know what it was. And then eventually through all the frustration, we sat down with the rink owners and the board members and say, look, we're spinning our wheels here. We're competing for players within a small market to begin with. Let's try to put it together. And through a few different steps, after 5 or 6 years, we finally brought it all together, and we have all the hockey in Indianapolis under one roof, 3 different privately owned rinks working together, and where the IYHA is running everything from learn to play through. Well, and that's our tier 2 program. So that's junior fuel. We have 12 tier 2 travel teams. We've got girls teams. But it's the strong. So those teams are competing in Central States League now, and then on top of that, there was one of the positives to come out of COVID. During the COVID season, obviously, all hockey in Illinois was shut down. Hockey in Michigan was shut down. Ohio was shut down to an extent. So all of the leagues that our teams played in throughout the whole state were shut down for the season. So all the presidents in the state of Indiana from every youth program got together, and it started as just an Indiana league, just so we can get games during the COVID year, because our rinks were open and we're playing normally. And we created a state championship that year. It's the Indiana State Hockey Association. There's representatives from every program in the state there. And then we started talking about, well, what could we do for our top level kids? Because we were able to keep some in Indy, some were going to Chicago. A lot of the South Bend, Fort Wayne kids were going to Chicago and Detroit to play AAA up there. And as we all know, it's not good for a kid's long-term hockey development or future to be driving 3 hours a few times a week for practice or billeting at 13 years old. So we got to try something. So that's where we created Indiana Elite. And it started out as just part-time teams that the COVID year and the year after, where the kids would be playing for their local program, whether it's the Junior Fuel or South Bend or Bloomington or Fort Wayne. They were playing full-time Tier 2, but they would get together for tournaments, and we'd have a handful of practices for the Indiana Elite teams. And then it went okay. It went about as well as a part-time team can go. It was fun to get all the top kids in the state together and play some games and have some practices, but it still wasn't a real team. So the next year we made the jump and set up a program where the kids would come. So we'd have tryouts in the spring like every other AAA team. And for our weekly practices, we set it up where all the commuters come down to Indy, and nobody's more than 2.5 hours away. But they'll come to Indy for Wednesday nights where we have a double practice. So they'll come to town. So all the commuters only have to come to town once a week. And we'll skate at 5:30 and then again at 7:30. So we have two team practices in town with the entire team. We've got, and there's usually an hour and a half between sessions. We'll work out, we'll do video. And actually one of the great unintended consequences was those kids are together for 5 to 6 hours a week, where it's on the ice, it's in the locker room, they're hanging out between, they're doing dry line, they're doing video. So they end up only one night a week, they end up spending way more time together as a group. And it's less nights a week at the rink for the parents and the kids. So we have the Wednesday nights in Indy where all the commuters come, and then we have a local skills practice in most of the cities throughout the state. And that was 3 years ago. So now we're going into year 4 of Indiana Elite, and we've managed to keep most of the top players living at home and in state. And we've got some competitive teams where their teams creeping into the top 20s over the last year or two. It's been fantastic. And we've got a great coaching staff, most of whom are based in Indy, but we've got a couple of coaches from outside of Indy. It's been fantastic. We're growing. We added a 15U team this year, so we've got teams top to bottom. We've got a girls 19 and a girls 14U team. It's been a lot of fun.
That's unreal, man. That's so cool. That's so unbelievably cool. And how difficult was it to kind of get everybody on the same page? You know, there's so many different competing interests, and you talk about getting the rinks to work together. That in and of itself is incredible. So like what was the process to kind of getting everybody together? How were you able to do that?
It wasn't easy. I think being the staff that works for us has done a great job of being organized and being responsible with the finances and fair with picking teams. And we try our best to communicate well and do everything that we can, the best that we can. It's a priority of ours to keep prices as low as possible. We charge as little as we can and continue to pay the bills and pay our staff. But there's, especially from an Indiana Elite perspective, there were a lot of discussions about, especially because there's a lot of good programs. There's a lot of good Tier 2 programs in Indiana, and they do a great job. They take a lot of pride in what they do. So initially it was, hey, you guys are stealing our players. But the reality is, if they didn't play for us, they were going to play for someone else. They're going to play for the Blue Jackets or a Michigan team or a Chicago team. They're leaving the program, and this was happening to us in Indy too. They're going to leave the program regardless. We might as well come together and create a scenario where to make it as easy on the kids and the families as possible, where they can still live at home. They can still have a relatively normal life. They only have one crazy night a week where it can be a bit of a drive and it's a big commitment, but we truly feel like it's the best possible scenario for kids that don't have a AAA program at home.
Yeah, that's great. And I feel like that animosity between tiers is something you see in a lot of places. Certainly see that here in Chicago, especially now, with the rise of the young AAA type stuff. And who are they taking kids from? They're taking kids from tier 2. And so those conversations, how were you able to get people to buy in to that? Because again, going back to what we were talking about, the recruiting culture of what youth hockey has become, nobody wants kids leaving their program. However, if it's done in the right way, it's like, no, he's not leaving the program. It's like kind of graduating, he's getting to like, we should be happy. And there are tier 2 clubs that do that. They're like happy. Yeah. We want to develop kids that can go on to play AAA if it's in the right scenario, if it's a crap product and you're just kind of, almost like a lateral move. It does kind of feel like stealing players, as opposed to like if the tier 1 team is actually doing a good job, then it's like, hey, this is actually something good. How did you get the tier 2 clubs to kind of buy into, hey, it's almost like a graduation kind of thing, and it's a good thing. And maybe it's, hey, they were leaving anyway, like you said, but how did you finagle that relationship?
Well, I think it's still a work in progress. I mean, there's varying levels of support throughout the state. I mean, it was voted on unanimously to do it amongst the presidents, but it's just working on those relationships and showing that we are really trying to do the best for the kids. And a lot of it comes down to that. Like, they were the high end kids, or at least the really ambitious kids, they're going to leave. They're going to try something anyway. So why not get on board with truly helping the kids and giving them the easiest path possible to high level hockey? I think a lot of it is just building trust and showing them that we're doing what's right. We're doing what's appropriate. And so it seems to be working.
That's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. Vex, any other questions on your end for Derek here?
No, I mean, I love what you said about like trying to keep the kids home and having a normal life. I think that's super important, especially in today's crazy world. Like, if kids can be at home with their parents for longer, it's obviously going to be better for them as human beings. There's going to be some situations where it's better for them to leave, but those are the exception. Those are not the rule. It's really cool what you've done, and you found a way to figure out, the answer to that kind of perplexing problem. If there's not a good enough team in my area, well, here's an option. And I think that's really cool. We need more people in the game trying to figure out those things instead of just, let me start a new team and make a bunch of money and recruit out of towners. That stuff drives me nuts. So I really respect what you guys have done.
And I think the biggest part is we talk a lot about parent boards and the presidents, and the biggest thing was getting the ranks on board, because ultimately the ranks decide who plays in their ranks, who uses the ice, regardless of, because they can boot out a parent board, they can boot out an organization anytime they want. They're the ones that really decide. So I think the key to making something like this happen is working with the ranks and getting the trust of the ranks and doing right by the ranks. Because reality is, if they're not in business, there's no ice time for anybody to play hockey. So developing those relationships and building that trust with the rinks, not only in Indy, but throughout the state was the biggest part of it.
I really like that you just said, do right by the rinks. I mean, something I got to bring up. And I remember I had a tweet that went off a few years ago when I was coaching, probably 5 years ago. Some of the ways that coaches and parents allow their players to leave the rink drives me insane. When we were growing up, it was, you don't leave the locker room until every tape ball is picked up. You make sure the showers are clean. Like, you clean up, you leave it better than you found it. And I don't know if it's entitlement or, we're so sweet, somebody coming after us. But like, when I was coaching, I would literally want to fist fight everyone in the rink after seeing my team walking in after a team walking out and seeing how they leave the locker room. And it's just like, come on, that's a life lesson. Like, that's like, coaches, we got to put more emphasis on that, because again, like, the rink's got to be happy with the tenants in there for everything to work. Everybody's working together. Like, treat your rink better. They're going to want to treat your organization better and give you preferential times and all these things. And if they don't need to have, 15 janitors working in the rink because all the teams and players respect the rink, clean up after themselves, take care of it. They're going to want to do whatever they need to do to make everything else work. It's really important that hockey and hockey players, bring back that respect for the rinks, for the coaches, for the parents, for the other team. Like, all those things need to be brought back into the game that's got to be paramount, because it's just disgusting how when I walk in sometimes how I put it on the coaches first and foremost, and then the parents obviously got to be teaching that life lesson that you clean up before you leave somewhere, because that stuff drives me nuts. Bring that back in the game.
Amen, Vex. Preach on, brother. In hotels too, right?
Yeah, you know it. Anytime, man. Leave it better than you found it. Like, what if everybody started doing that? Like, the world changes. It's pretty freaking simple.
I like it. Well, Derek, we're hitting up on an hour here. This was awesome, man. It was great to get you on here and talk about your journey, talk a little youth hockey, talk a little bit about what you're doing in Indiana, because you guys are doing a phenomenal job. We're going to keep you for a couple more minutes for our 10 questions here. That's going to be in Hockey Think Tank U, which you're in. He's in Hockey Think Tank U. Love it. Giving some great advice to people. But we appreciate your time here today, and keep killing it out there in Indy.
Thank you. Love what you guys are doing. Hockey Think Tank U is fantastic. It's really well done. It's very impressive.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Well, we'll keep you on here. 10 questions. Let's go.
Sounds good.
Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from your YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, this crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto-renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.